In this construction, I decided to use pad foundation. Since building structure is three-story house, a pad foundation was chosen. There are many factors that determine the foundation, such as the geological condition of foundation, the scale and function of foundation of building, the influence of foundation on building, the influence of foundation on environmental, the cost, the difficulty of construction. The reason why I want chose pad foundation the structure of the building. Pad foundation is more economic than other foundation. Consider that there is a residential area and does not want to have too much construction noise. It is very appropriate to choose pad foundation with less excavation and side pouring. Because it is only a three-story house without a basement. I think that is independent, so I think that pad foundation is enough. So this house, in this case, I assume that the three-story building was used a frame structure. A frame structure in this case, pad foundation are used to support single or multiple column and distribute the load below ground level. They are usually square or rectangular planes, and the plan area determined by allowable pressure on the soil. Isolated footing are provided where the soil-bearing capacity is generally high and consists of thick slabs, which can be either flat or stepped or sloped. This type of footing is the most economic compared to other type of footing, because the isolated foundation have fewer consumables than other foundation. No piling is required. The construction is simple. The construction period is short. Advantage of isolated footing. First is economic when posts are placed far away. Workers with less or no knowledge can easily construct it. Construction is easy. Excavation, formwork, steel placement, and concrete placement are all easy. Less material than other foundation. Three types of pad foundation. First is a flat footing. These footings are generally square or rectangular or rounded and are set independently under each post. A flat footing is one of the shallow foundation. It is a round, square, or rectangular slab of consistent thickness. Step footing. These type of footing were built in old days and are now obsolete. As from its names, it's similar. The footing is stepped on, other is a step. Three concrete sections are stacked in each other and from is one step. This type of foot is also called a step foundation. Step foundation are commonly used residential building. 3. Slope foundation. Slope foundation are trapezoidal footing. They are designed and constructed with great care to see that the top slope of 45 degrees is maintained from all sides. Sometimes isolated footing is stepped or sloped in order to meet requirement of foundation bearing capacity. The bottom of foundation is made wider than the wall and widened step by step. Because the isolated footing is essentially pulled on site and doesn't make a lot of noise, it's perfect in residential area. Because the bearing capacity of independent foundation is relatively low, I'm worried that the three-story building will put a lot of pressure on foundation, so I choose to step the footing. The major type of foundation are plain concrete, reinforced concrete. Plain concrete is non-reinforced concrete pad foundation, and it's an economic choice under relatively light loads. Reinforced concrete allows relatively wide but shallow foundation, also often designed with a square plain area, higher carrying capacity than plain concrete pad foundation. So rigid material. A foundation made of rigid material is called a rigid foundation. A rigid material generally referred to material with high compressive strength and low tensile and shear strength. Among the commonly used material, bricks, stones, and concrete are all rigid material. Flexible foundation refer to the use of tensile compression, bending resistance, shearing resistance of reinforced concrete material are better to do the foundation. It is used for the building with poor foundation bearing capacity, large upper load, basement, and foundation burial depths. In this case, I choose to use reinforced concrete as a foundation material because the bearing capacity of independent foundation is not very high. I use reinforced concrete to increase the bearing capacity. The advantage of reinforced concrete. First, reinforced concrete has higher compressive strength compared with other construction material. Reinforced concrete can also withstand better tensile strength due to the prevention of steel reinforcement. Reinforced concrete are more durable than any other building system. Concrete components are widely available worldwide and are inexpensive. And the strength and the life of building lays on its foundation because Malaysia is a country with abundant groundwater resource. Although there is no basement and excavation depth is not deep, it is still very necessary to consider waterproofing. I need not to use strap foundation but choose pad foundation plus waterproof. I use three methods of foundation waterproofing. One is foundation drain, waterproofing membrane, and the other is protection board. Foundation drain are pipes that are installed under your foundation or basement floor to collect water and move it off site to prevent your basement from filling with water. And waterproofing membrane. Waterproofing membrane are a thin layer of watertight material that is laid over a surface. The layer is continuous and does not allow water to pass through it. And the protection board. Protection board is placed on exterior foundation wall and protect the waterproofing membrane from rocks and roots that might puncture the finish. And in this case, I choose use independent foundation of reinforced concrete material. It's economic and simple, and the construction is simple and fast. It can be put on site, although it cannot bear relatively large load, and it should be no problem for three-story building. For the possible damage to the foundation of groundwater in Malaysia, foundation drain was also selected.